Good morning from Chotea. So today is the last day of the official sea trials after the refit. Last night we heard the bilge pump go off, which I was like, that's unusual. Since we've put in that dripless shaft seal, the bilge pump rarely ever goes off. And I looked in, there wasn't much water. I looked around, didn't see anything wet in there. I was like, okay. And then I heard it go off again in the middle of the night. It's just for a second too. So this morning when I got up, had coffee, I started poking around trying to figure out where this water was coming from. And our raw water pump is leaking from like the weep hole. So maybe the gasket failed, maybe the impeller failed. But right now I'm gonna pull the raw water pump off and get it out here and take it apart and see what's happening. We have spare gaskets and everything for it, so, and impellers. So we'll see what that's all about. I don't want to push it and like maybe have the engine overheat as we're like coming down the channel in LA Harbor. So yeah, let's get to pulling that off and looking and see what the issue is with that and get that sorted out. I pulled the raw water pump off and got out my Yanmar service manual and all my spares. Let's pull it apart and see what the issue is. Okay, get all the screws out. The impeller's all intact. So here's a funny thing I just discovered. I ordered like the factory all like replacement kit for Yanmar, from Yanmar, for a 2GM20F, and I'm wondering if this water pump's from a different engine, because here's the new spare, which is the same size as this old one, but look, it's too small. So thankfully this impeller is not damaged, and we want to make sure that we don't damage it pulling it off, because then we're going to be hosed. But that's good to know. I thought I had, you know, a bunch of spare impellers, and here the reality is I do not. So let's get this thing off. That thing looks good still, so that's awesome. After taking apart the raw water pump, I do not have the seals needed to replace it at the moment, but my buddy Noah said that he had, on his Olson, he had the same water pump. If there's a small leak from one of the weep holes, it just means the gaskets need to be replaced. And he said he lived for months without replacing it, and it wasn't a big deal. And that it was cheap and easy to replace. So we're just gonna tighten it back down, put it back in, make sure that it is just like a slow leak, slow drip rather. And if that's the case, then we're just gonna head out. We went into town to see if there was some like gasket, like liquid gasket stuff. They didn't have anything, and it's Sunday right now, so their repair shop isn't open. So but yeah, it seems like, yeah, Noah was like, oh yeah, it's like, you know, we had that for months, and it's just, you know, not a non-issue. As long as it's not losing so much water that the engine's overheating, then it's not a problem. But I was glad to see that the propeller's in good shape, the impeller's in good shape. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this thing back down and get it reinstalled and run the engine and see how she looks. And then we're gonna sail for home. So one of the shackles on our snubber didn't fail. One of the shackles on our snubber worked itself loose. Obviously I didn't have them moused or like the pins secured to the shackle, but we have one of them on. and the other one is here. I have a spare shackle that I'm gonna go out and reattach it, and then I'm gonna mouse both of the shackles so that that doesn't happen again. Yeah, it's like slowly go through and like find all the little bits that got overlooked, you know? So get that done now. Hauling in our stern anchor, slowly but surely, like 18 to 20 knots of wind. As soon as we get that thing broke and on board, then haul up and head out.
He didn't even bark at him.
Ooh, that was an adventure in getting the anchor up. Well, one thing we'll say, the only real good things about Little Fisherman's Cove is really easy landing and really good holding. So good that we could not get the stern anchor up. You want to show them the clay on it?
It was entirely caked in this. It was entirely caked in this very fine clay. Like you couldn't see the paddles of it. It was really, really in there. I had to like swish it around for a while in the water, and then take a bunch of it off with my hands too, and it's still dirty, but it took a really hello traveler, it took a really long time to break. Tedious. Don't love that anchorage. I don't think either of us do.
No, not a fan of that anchorage, and unfortunately it's the only place to anchor near Two Harbors, on this side of Two Harbors. Now it's time to get out here. I see some whitecaps out there. Winds are only supposed to be like 10 knots. We'll see if that's true.
They're covered in some sort of crack cocaine dust that makes them extremely delicious, but I am a traditionalist in this sense. I prefer pistachios with the shell. I like the snacktivity.
Not me, I ain't trying to work for that shit. We are an hour from Angels Gate Lighthouse on our passage back. It's been very lumpy. Around the shipping lane, it calmed down. We still have some kind of big rollers, but it was very confused seas close to the island and like 14 knots of wind. Southerly, so it was like right on our tail, but we couldn't really take advantage of it. And yeah, it was very lumpy. Everything's left over from that big wind event that we were experiencing at the island. We're just trying to get back, get tucked in, you know. And yeah, happy with how everything went. And tomorrow morning I'll sit down and do a recap for you guys. But for now, we're just gonna enjoy the last hour of this passage and then drive down and tie our home up.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like, subscribe, and leave us a comment. It helps us a lot.
Thanks again to all of our patrons. Your contributions help us get the boat ready for big things.
Until next time.